Hey, I'm Tom Hess, and I'm glad that you're here to check out this cool video to learn more about how to sweep pick arpeggios fast on the guitar. Before I get into showing you some really cool sweep picking speed exercises and techniques, I'm going to suggest for you to subscribe to this channel because I'm going to be uploading a bunch of new videos kind of on this topic, but other topics too, that you'll definitely want to check out and not want to miss. Also, like this video, share the video, definitely leave feedback, positive or negative. I read it all. So that's cool stuff. And before we get started, there's a link here at the bottom you should be able to see. And there you can download the tablature for the excerpts that I'll be sharing. So it'll just make it easier for you to sort of figure out, what I'm doing as I explained it. And you'll be able to see it in the tab. All right, so let's slow this down a little bit and see what's going on. All right, first of all, what we really have here is an F sharp minor 7th arpeggio. All right, so we've got F sharp note, we've got A, we're doing that with a hammer on, and we got C sharp, that's the 5th of the chord, and then we've got the 7th, that's E, and then we've got F sharp again. Okay, so that's our F sharp minor 7th arpeggio that we're using here. So what we're going to do when we play this is we're going to start here on the highest note, the F sharp on the G string, 11th fret. And we're going to hit that with an upstroke. Pick up towards the ceiling. And then pull off here. And then we're going to continue our sweep picking motion onto the next string. So that's another upstroke. And that's another upstroke. And then a downstroke here on the F sharp. And then we have to do a hammer on here. And now we're going to do another downstroke and yet another downstroke. And then we're going to hit that with an upstroke and then mute the note. Okay, so we're just going to make that last note staccato and we're just going to rest. And the reason why we want to rest here is, well, first, it sounds cool to sometimes play a burst of speed and then stop. That attracts a lot of the listener's attention. But also, we want to use that time to sort of analyze what we just did. It's easier for your ear to hear if everything was articulated well and if it was clean and if it sounds good, if you have that little bit of time to analyze what just happened as you played. All right? So again, this is the technique here. Okay, so that's a really cool one. Okay, really cool sound, and it's really not that difficult. It may be awkward for some of you at first in that the sweep picking is broken up with a hammer on and a pull off. Okay, so normally when you're sweep picking, you just have continuous motion, right? The pick is going down, and then the pick is coming back this way, something like this. The motion of the pick never stops. It's just down and up and down and up, and there's nothing interrupting that pattern. Okay, but with this, we do have an interruption. We have the upstroke, and then it's already interrupted right away because we got the pull off, and then upstroke again, then changing directions for downstroke, and now we got an interruption again because we got to do a hammer on here, and then a downstroke and another downstroke. Okay, so the important thing here, the key for your picking hand, is to never stop it from moving. That's a really important point. So when you start off and you do the upstroke and then you've got the pull off, even though your pick doesn't physically do anything, it doesn't articulate any string during the pull off, it has to keep moving towards the next string. If you stop the momentum of the pick, it's going to make it really, really hard for you to master this. Okay, so imagine the pick this way. Okay, we're going to do an upstroke. Now let's pretend the next string is over here, right? The G string's here and the D string's here. So I'm picking the first note on the G string with an upstroke. While my hand is traveling to the next string, my other hand is doing the pull off, okay? So what we don't want to do is this. We don't want to do up, stop, do the pull off, and then start again. Don't do that. Instead, pick up, do the pull off as the hand is traveling, and then hit the next string in time, okay? When you do it like that and you practice it, this will be really, really easy for you to play fast. It's really not hard at all. It's just a little bit tricky if you're not used to keeping the momentum going. All right, so momentum is everything. With momentum, you can get a lot of speed with very little effort. Without the momentum, you're going to be fighting it all the time, and it's going to be really, really hard. All right, so don't do that. Okay, in this next example, we're basically doing the exact same thing. We're just changing one note. And the note that we're changing is the very first note, or the highest note. So instead of playing the root of this chord, or arpeggio, the F sharp, now we're going to play the ninth, or the second note from the F sharp minor scale. That's G sharp. Everything else is the same. As far as the notes, it's the same. However, I'm going to suggest that you change the fingering in the left hand or the fretting hand for this one. I think it'll be a lot easier for you if you do. Okay, so it's going to work like this. We're going to have the fourth finger, pinky finger, up here on the G sharp, the ninth of the chord. And then here we're going to do our pull off again. And now, instead of using the ring finger for the C sharp, we're going to use the middle finger. And then the ring finger here for the A. And then first finger for the F sharp. And then go back up. So listen to this. So that's a lot easier to do with that fingering. Doing it with this fingering, that's a lot harder, or at least it's a lot harder for me. This is a lot easier. Okay? The picking pattern for this example is exactly the same as the picking pattern for the first one, so nothing changes for the right hand or for the picking hand. All right? Just a little bit of a stretch in the left hand. And it's really, really cool. And again, don't forget the momentum of the picking hand is really everything. That's the key to the speed. Okay? And before we move on, one thing that I want to just address here real quick is if you can't play fast yet, these examples might seem like really, really hard to you. Okay? If you can already play fast, then you already recognize that a lot of what's going on here isn't really all that hard. Okay? But if speed is something you don't have a lot of right now, it looks a lot harder than it is. So let me explain real quick why this is not that hard as it seems and why that's good news. It's good news because if it's not that hard, it won't take as long to master it. Okay? First of all, the picking hand doesn't do much. Okay? It just goes like this and like this, right? You're not doing a tremolo really, really fast or any type of string skipping that's really hard. It's just a simple motion. So there's nothing complicated about this at all. Just the only little trick here is just to, as I said, when you do the hammer-ons and pull-offs, you got to keep the momentum of the pick moving as those things happen. But generally, it's not that hard. Now, for the fretting hand, it's also not that hard. In fact, something as simple as a trill is a lot harder. Okay? And I'll explain why in a second. If we do this, that's a lot harder than the whole arpeggio thing we just did. Why is that harder? Because the fingers in your left hand have to, or at least one of the fingers, has to move very quickly in rapid succession. With an arpeggio like this, that's not the case. None of the fingers have a lot of work to do. All right? So if you just look at my ring finger, for example, it only plays one note. It has a very simple job to do. It's just doing this. It's all it does. So it just has to play one note. not hard. Okay, the middle finger only has to play one note. Not hard either. Right? It just does this. Plays it once on the way down, once on the way up. Not hard. The first finger probably has the hardest job, but it also isn't very hard. It goes from here to here. But there are two other notes in between the two notes that the first finger has to play. So there's actually, even when you play fast, there's actually a lot of time for that first finger to move back and forth. Because you got these two guys in between. And the fourth finger has a very easy job. It just plays one note. So nothing is hard. It's not hard for this hand. It's not hard for this hand. Now, the notes change quickly, right, from one note to the next. That happens fast, but none of the fingers really have to move that fast, and the pick definitely doesn't have to move that fast. So it's just simply coordination of changing from one note to the next. It's not physical strength or physical endurance or, you know, super complicated from that standpoint. There are many other things, like just simple trills for the left hand, that are way harder. So if you can do a trill, then you're already doing something that's harder than what we're doing here. That's good news, because it won't take you that long to master it when you practice it a lot, practice it in the right way. Okay, so example number 3 is very similar to example number 2. There's only one tiny little difference, and that's in the fourth finger of the fretting hand. You just go one fret higher. So instead of playing the 9th, or the G sharp, you move up to A. And everything else stays the same, okay? So it's a little bit of a stretch, but if you hold your guitar like this, instead of holding it like this, that stretch won't be hard at all. Oh, and if you hold your thumb in the back of the neck and not like that, if you do this, that stretch is going to be hard. If you hold it like this, so my hand's like a C, right? You see that? Like a C clamp. The thumb is right in the middle of the back of the neck. That stretch is not hard at all. My hands are not that big. Okay, my pinky finger is not even 2 inches long. I have really short fingers. So if I can do the stretch, anyone can do the stretch. Okay, so here's what we're doing. And then we're gonna do the staccato on the top. And that's really cool sounding. That little rest in there makes it sound really aggressive. Okay, so that's it. That's example 3. Pretty simple stuff. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this short little tiny video. And if you want to learn how to double your guitar speed while cutting your practice time in half in order to do it, there's really only one way to get that much result in half the time. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do for free right now. Just go to that link below. It's all free. Check it out. You'll love it.